Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. It is I, the mayor, Flobo, Boyce, in the mayor's office, hanging out with thinkers, and doers. But my guest is thinking and doing for a whole career. Please welcome Paula Jai Parker, one of the stars of The Miracle Before Christmas. How's it going?
What up, Flobo? How you doing,
Hey,
baby?
it,
Hey.
it's
Thank you
the
for having
holiday.
me.
I'm feeling good. As we record this, it's about what, 5 days away, 6 days away from Christmas?
Yes, huh? It's crazy because my son doesn't get out of school until that Thursday
Oh,
before
wow.
Christmas. Is that
Yeah.
crazy? Like, I think
Yeah.
his last day is the 22nd, and then
Yeah.
Christmas is on the 25th. What
Oh,
is this
wow.
world coming to? I'm like, what? Can we have a little bit of time to go visit some folks to like chill out? So we haven't even put our Christmas tree up yet.
Oh, yeah.
That's just what's going on over in my house.
I
But
was told that to.
we're going to. But I like to wait for him to be able to go pick it out with us, and on the weekends he's playing baseball
Okay.
or kicking it with his friends or homework. So we've usually waited until he got out of school to go get our tree. So now, we're not going to get our tree until late. So we probably won't take it down until, I don't know, you know how we people that you
Yeah.
love are.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th of July. We'll take our
Probably
tree.
the tree's all brown and everything. Uh,
No, we're doing our first artificial tree this year.
okay, great, great, great.
I grew
So
up with an artificial tree in Cleveland. I'm
okay,
from Cleveland, the land
let's
back there.
go. Yeah.
Oh, hey. But yes, I currently call California home. Thank you, Cali, for welcoming me and loving me up. So, yeah, my girlfriend, I was raised with an artificial tree. My mom,
Okay.
she's Libra, fancy pants. So we always had like this white, beautiful tree
Oh, I see. The
that
white
she
ones. Yeah.
would put up. We never did the Charlie Brown Christmas at my house because my
Hmm.
mom always went to the basement, got the tree, put it up every year, and decorated it beautifully. So I think that's what we're going to do this year for the first time. We've already done the Charlie Browns. My kid is 14. He
Oh, wow.
knows nobody's coming down the chimney.
Right.
Everything under the tree, he knows who put it there.
Did he believe in
So,
Santa in the past, or just
yes,
something
he
that? You,
did.
okay. Okay.
He
Cool.
did. And
Okay.
he believed that Santa was black.
But he's
And,
not.
well, he is.
Yeah.
And that was an issue for my son because Santa is black. He's from Turkey, and he relocated during his career as a toy maker to Germany, and that's where the whole, but Santa is a black man. And my son, well, of course, I went to Howard. I know these
Okay.
things, but it's nice. I just recently tweeted it because the Hallow app, which I'm a very spiritual person, I was born Catholic. It
Hmm.
talked about the fact that Saint Nicholas, who
Hmm.
is, of course, Santa Claus, was from Turkey and a black man. And I was so impressed by the fact that this app had spoken so honestly about the origins of someone we have, considered our entire lives to be a white, chubby guy from
Hmm.
the North Pole. So my son, being my son, drew in the first grade Santa as being a black man. And the little girl who was sitting next to him in class, she was a Pakistani girl. Her mother and myself are very good friends. She ripped up my son's painting of Santa portrayed as black and
Wow.
was mad. And my son, being the gentleman, went off. He didn't knock her out because, but he didn't knock her out. He didn't, he just went off on
Right.
the situation, and I was called. So it became meaningful to me that it was finally spoken of that Santa is a black man because her being from Pakistan is not that far from Turkey. And the
True.
fact that she reacted so violently as to rip up, not just say that's not true, but to rip it up as if it genuinely offended her for him to portray Santa as black because she had culturally been taught that Santa was supposed to be chubby and white. Why
Right.
she cared what was going on in my son's world, is just another, example of how we've been as people fed what they want us to believe versus the truth.
Yeah.
Not that it even matters what color Santa Claus is because he's not a real person. But the fact that it was taught to us that he was Caucasian versus St. Nicholas, who is a black man, a man of color, I think that speaks volumes about the lies that we've been taught as a culture, as Americans, as people, as black people. I don't blame anyone living today. We all inherited this world. It's not like, some, I don't know, German guy that's still living said, we're going to make Santa Claus white. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. No, this is what we inherited. This is the world that we've been given. It's a world that has systematically tried to, suppress the black man for thousands of years now. If Jesus' death was maybe 2,000 years ago, it's been thousands of years. So yes, I guess all of this was to say Santa's a black guy.
Right.
And it doesn't matter because we're supposed to be celebrating Jesus, right?
Yeah, the reason for the season. No, I asked you about if your son believed in it, because I know there's like a movement now to tell children that he never exists, and I thought that was kind of interesting about. Yeah, like I say, look, mom and dad got your gifts. The support us, not Santa. But it kind of cuts over the legacy of St. Nicholas.
To be honest with you, it broke my heart when I found out that my mom had lied to me about the tooth fairy. Like, I genuinely thought the tooth fairy was real. And, I'd leave my teeth under the pillow and I'd wake up and, my mom hooked me up. I wouldn't just have like a quarter or $1. I'd have like little makeup, for little girls. I'd have some real presents under there. So when I was on the bus and an older kid told me that the tooth fairy wasn't real, it really did. It really messed my head up. Like, it hurt, it broke my heart. And then it made me realize that my mom had been lying to me. And, I was like, why would you do that? You made me look stupid in front of everybody. Like, that was my main objective. Like, okay, so she's not real, but you made me look like a fool by arguing them down that the tooth fairy was real. Like, so I understand what you're saying about this new movement, but, I also believe that it's easier to help children believe in God when we start them off with something frivolous, maybe,
Right.
Because I began my relationship with God young because my father died. It was easier for me to believe in a father that didn't exist than, most people perhaps have a time with, or didn't exist where I could see, not didn't exist in reality. So to me, to teach a child to believe in fairies and Santa Claus and dinosaurs is reality, because anything that we can conceive came from somewhere. And it's not that Santa Claus did not exist. Santa Claus did exist. His name was Saint Nicholas. And he was canonized as a saint because of his work with children. So he did exist. So let's not, pretend like Santa didn't exist. The white chubby guy didn't exist with the reindeer that fly. But every superstition, everything that we've been taught existed in some way, genuinely did exist. Like, we didn't just pull Santa out our butts. That's my point. There was a Saint Nick. There was a Santa. We didn't just pull Jesus out our tush. There was a Jesus. There was, these people existed. Dinosaurs did exist. Demons do exist. We're not just making this stuff up. We're not telling you to throw salt over your shoulder because somebody thousands of years knew that, but there's something to every single superstition, And that's why I love, Stevie's song, Very Superstitious, because he's saying when we believe in things we don't understand, it's not when you believe in things that don't exist, it's that you don't understand why you believe in them. Why are we throwing salt over our shoulders? Because salt is of the earth, and of the earth dispels negativity. So you throw salt over your shoulder in case there's some negativity behind you, and you dispel it. Everything comes from somewhere. And, it's all biblical as well. If you even look into the Bible, you'll see salt, as the salt of the earth, the salt, when we first started, trading before money was even a thing, or tangible money was a thing, we used salt. Salt was money. So if you spill salt, that's like you're wasting a whole bunch of money. If I spill salt, I can't use it. That's like $100 worth of salt on the ground. Right. So I'm gonna throw a little over my shoulder. So it has historical meaning as well as, a meaning of dispelling entities that do exist, so my point is, I don't agree with teaching children that Santa doesn't exist because, number one, I do believe that it helps a child to live in their imagination when they're a child. And, I just think, like, I don't see the difference between teaching a child that Santa doesn't exist, but letting them watch cartoons and letting them see what the Little Pony, does the Little Pony exist? Does the Teletubbies exist? Does Superman exist? Yeah. Does Spider-Man exist? But you can understand him watching this, but you can't understand, teaching someone to dream, to believe in something that they can't touch or see. And that, I think, is the point of Christmas and the whole Santa thing. I think it's to help children use their imagination in tangible ways, kind of like creative visualization. You have to think it before you can achieve it. Before I could become an actress, I had to decide I wanted to be an actress. I had to see what that looked like within my own mind before I could manifest it in the real world. And that's what I think imagination does.
How'd you manifest? If you want me asking, are you a vision board person? Are you a meditation person?
Yes, I did. My mom was raised my grandmother was a preacher. So my mom was raised in the Kajic faith, like straight up. She couldn't wear pants, she couldn't join any after school activities. So when she became an adult, she was drawn to the Unity Church, which is Norman Vincent Peale. It's kind of like religious science, but it's not Scientology. It's the Unity Church. Right. Like, you may get those Unity books in the mail where, every day they give you a little scripture, and then, for that day they'll give
Actually, I have one of these here. I don't know if you can see this.
And that's the church. Yes, that is exactly where it comes from. So they're the church that created the whole vision board, the whole concept of seeing it before you can achieve it. So yes, I was doing vision boards at 9 years old, and I put Paula Abdul on my vision board. And there was a basketball player that I wanted to meet. I put him on my vision board. And I kid you not, I ended up meeting the basketball player, but I ended up manifesting the type of lifestyle that I wanted, that I related to another Paula Abdul. And the basketball player, I put on my vision board that I was going to marry this basketball player. I didn't even know who he was, but that was in my 11-year-old, 9-year-old mind, the journey that I wanted to take, become an actress like Paula Abdul. Well, she was more, I think I really wanted to be a singer, and then marry this basketball player. I ended up meeting the basketball player and not being interested. Like I manifested this guy in my life, but I was like, each time I met him, it was like, I'm good, but the point is, and I ended up having these opportunities, but I realized as I became an adult that as you change, your vision changes.
Mhm.
So as I experienced dating athletes, I realized that wasn't my journey. And so even though I manifested what I put on my vision board, I realized it wasn't God's vision for me. It was what I thought I wanted.
Yeah.
So I manifested it, but then I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I create a new vision board as soon as I manifest something that I either liked or I didn't want, or as soon as I manifest something on that vision board, I create a new vision board because we're constantly manifesting.
That's definitely true. So walk me through the career then, because you manifested being an actress. You've done that in spades for decades. But you get the phone call for this one here, America Before Christmas. Is that something you're manifesting into a holiday film quite like this, or is this part of another kind of manifestation? Was
I
something you
think
didn't
I was
expect, or
manifesting BET.
okay,
I've it's been a while since I've been I've worked with BET, like just BET and I. We used to have a really, really great, relationship, and I haven't, worked with BET in a long time. So when the opportunity came across my table to do A Miracle Before Christmas, it was a no-brainer. First
oh
of
yeah,
all, my baby, Romeo was on a show that currently got rebooted called The Proud Family. So I know
hmm
we raised you, Flo. Yeah,
yeah.
you grew up watching The Proud Family a little bit.
My friends had cable. I did not. When I went over to their house, I would
You
definitely,
did watch
Disney
it.
Channel. Yeah.
Yay. So Romeo was on The Proud Family when he was a baby. So it was a no brainer when they called me. Like, I was not the first person picked. They already had Latoya Luckett. And I was like, oh, whoa, a huge Destiny's Child fan. Hello. And out of the whole Destiny's Child, you know, thing, I thought Latoya had handled it like a true G,
Mhm.
and that's why I appreciate Latoya Luckett because
Yeah.
after that she got into acting, and I appreciate anyone who has enough courage to try. And not only did she try, but I think she's very, very talented.
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I am a fan of talent. So there was a yes for Romeo, then there was a yes for Latoya, and then come on now, Silver Throat.
Oh
We are
yeah.
not going to play with Mr. David Keith, honey.
Of
Like,
course.
I was just watching the other day. There's something about Mary. I'm just
Yeah.
fucking with you, Mary. Like,
Yeah.
David Keith is the man. Like, he's been in so many things that we've loved. I remember when I first graduated from college, I went to see him in Two Trains Running. I'm like, I went to Howard University.
Mhm.
And so, straight from Howard, I went to New York, to start my career because they say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
True.
So went there, was blessed enough to make it there. I got a job at the Apollo Theater, but like before I got there because in college, the Negro Ensemble Company and the New Federal Theater Company both came and took a look at me, and they both gave me internships. So that's how I got to New York. That's how I got to your town, New Amsterdam. And
Yeah.
then I got the job, uptown. We're talking about uptown. I lived on 106 in Amsterdam.
Okay. Awesome.
Me
Yeah.
and Regina Hall shared an apartment 106 in Amsterdam. The famous actress Regina Hall? Like,
Yeah.
that's my baby. Like, we started together. She was a baby. She didn't know what she wanted, but she saw me doing it. And I think that is why I often go back to Howard. I talk at elementary schools. I teach at my son's school. I read to kids starting at like kindergarten because I understand the concept of if you can see it, you can be it. Like we were talking about creative visualization. That's not being able to see it, but still manifesting it. Now imagine being able to see it and manifesting it. So she seeing it helped her realize, well, shit, if this motherfucker can do it, if PJ can do it, what?
With all due respect.
With all due respect, if this bitch can do it, but for real, that's a baby. That's a baby.
Yeah,
It's true. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, granted, I had the dream. I was told I had the purpose. I'm supposed to do this. But that doesn't mean that you can't too. Maybe that's my purpose. Maybe I'm John bringing in a whole bunch of Jesuses. If you can look at me and say, I relate to her, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. I don't take that as a diss. I take that as that is my journey. That's my purpose. And I brought so many young ladies into this game, just as Jada brought me in, and Vivica brought me in, and Nia Long brought me in, and Regina King brought me in, by me seeing them do it.
Yeah.
I've been able to, reach out and touch some of your favorite actresses today, and I take it as a compliment because anytime Hollywood has a bright star that they want to win, they give them to me in some way. And at first I was like, is this God doing this or is this Hollywood? But I think it's a combination of the two. Like, I've introduced Stormy to the world that I'm very proud of. One of my babies. Brandon Hammond, one of my babies. There are Kyla. She introduced me to the world. If you really want to know which time it is, Kyla Pratt been doing it since Barney. She introduced Barney to the world. But being able to work with Kyla when she was young, I genuinely am proud of the woman that she's become. I've seen some women now that were the same age as Kyla, when we started working together, and her mother is a phenomenal. Kyla is related to Geronimo Pratt. Like, that's her uncle.
Okay.
So her mother has always been a phenomenal influence to me in my mother. She's mom goals. But me being there and me being able to, influence positively young people in their journey as well as help them act. I am proud of the young people that have grown up that I got to touch, in a beautiful way.
There's always this talk about, and I promise we'll ask you more Christmas questions, but there always a talk about diversity, right? It's getting better now. There's more outlets, there's more opportunities, even though it's kind of a balance. There's a whole class, generations that struggled and opened doors for the other. What's the dynamic like? Is there a new class ready to go? Do they have more opportunities to succeed? Is it just as hard as it was when you came up? Is it the same? What's that look like for you?
Oh, yes, it's a different world. It really is. For the young people coming up, and it's an international world. It's more international. And that's good for us in a way, and then in a way it's not. But I think with us being so vocal about the international changes has helped us, because with streaming outlets, there are more opportunities for more Black people to work. Of course, my not preference, I guess for me, the main, subcategory would be Black women. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot more opportunities for women of color to work. For a long time, the women of color that were chosen were European women, English women. When it came time to do a prominent slave film, they cast an English girl. Mm-hmm. And in a sense, I understood that because they weren't looking at it from a personal perspective, because they didn't experience it. It's like casting your enemy to play you. And I never understood the concept. You have a different mentality of what slavery means because of where you were raised in Africa. So your view of American Black people and our journey as slaves is different than what it actually was because you didn't experience it. You, in all intents and purposes, caused it.
Mm.
So it wasn't fair to me that there became a time during my lifetime. We're not talking about when Roots came out and they cast all the big American stars from O.J. Simpson to, James Earl Jones. We're not talking about that era. We're talking about the era I came up in, where they began casting English girls instead of American Black girls, as if we weren't worthy of the roles, because we're, from the urban, cities or America, because we're descendants of slaves, we're not worthy of playing our ancestry. That bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm seeing a change. I'm seeing an opportunity because there are so many different outlets for everyone to get an opportunity. I'm not hating on the English girls.
Right.
Come on, do your thing. You guys are cold. What I'm saying is, so are we.
We talked about fame a little bit and what people are saying, but over the years you have a little bit of a groundswell with the Proud Family work. You're at Comic-Con this year. You can't
Wow,
ignore people.
huge,
They're in your face.
huge,
What's that like?
huge. That's cool. Like, I find it to be a lot more cool now that I'm settled, have a husband, have a kid. When people were in my face when I was younger and single, it was very daunting. Like, I really related to the Marilyn Monroe documentary. When you're alone in this town and you're succeeding, it's lonely and scary. But, now that I'm grown, I'm a big girl, I got big girl undies on, I got a husband, I got a kid. So I was good at Comic Con. I was ready for all the people,
Yeah.
and nobody's ever in my face because 9 times out of 10, it's white people and they don't recognize me. They're just like, oh, there's a lady. She looks familiar. How you doing, lady? It's the younger people, that younger white kids, they do recognize me and they come up and they show me love. And it's always, chill.
Yeah.
So Comic Con was really, really chill for me because, whereas I would have been daunted by the number of people because I'm I'm one of those anxiety people. I have
Sure.
dyslexia. I got my own mental hangups that it is hard for me to act in a situation where I feel uncomfortable. So what helped settle me was marriage and becoming a mother. It gave me confidence. It settled my mind. I'm not running the streets and at the club, you know. So Comic Con was a bucket list check.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we're invited every year. Like, it was so much fun. It was just, I'd never experienced anything like that. I hope there comes a day, it blew my mind when Beyonce dressed up like us. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that picture. You guys think I'm playing, but I'm putting that picture over my fireplace. Like, I want that like to be the centerpiece of my living room. But I saw people dressed up like Kel in Good Burger. I
Hmm.
saw people dressed up like people that I love, and people that I can relate to. I always thought it was just like something that white people dressed up, and I didn't know what it was. But when I went there and I saw black people honored as well, and black people there honoring, and the fact that we had been invited and we were being honored, it let me know that Comic Con has become something much more than it had been in the past, where it was a little more exclusive. I think now, or else we've opened our arms to the world, and in return, the world has opened their arms to us.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I enjoyed Comic Con, and I felt welcomed and loved, and I wasn't nervous or anxious.
Yeah. The first time I did Comic Con, which
Okay,
is
fancy pants.
no,
Look,
no,
look
I
at the
was like,
humble brag,
no,
humble
no.
brag. Well, the first time I did a Comic Con.
I was trying to empathize. I was trying to empathize. I swear.
Humble brag. I'm just playing, Flo. I love it. I love it. So go ahead. What
You
happened
got
the
me.
first
You
time?
got me though.
What
I
happened
was
the first
I was
time?
going to say that when someone asked for an autograph or something like that, I didn't believe them. I thought they were trying to make fun of me. I was like, "There's no
No,
way that
no,
could be some
heck
other
no.
things and stuff like that." But you're right. There is a bit of love at Comic Con. I
There's
feel bad.
so much love. Don't feel bad. I was just teasing you. We're allowed to humble brag. That's the new
Yeah.
thing. We're allowed. It's more acceptable than straight up like, well, I've been invited to Comic Con all the time.
All the time.
Comic Con,
What?
CC, Comic Con, Comic Con. No, so I appreciate a humble brag. But yeah, it blows your mind, doesn't it? How many when white boys come up to me with like layouts that I've done, like random pictorials,
Yeah.
stuff that I'm like, whoa, really? Where'd you find this? It blows my mind. Like, I know I've got African American fans, black people,
Right.
but it blows my mind when famous people and when white people, like, I don't know why, but but at Comic Con, so many knew me more than not. But in California, it's
Yeah.
like, we're all stars in California. So no one asks for your autograph in Cali. You're like,
Right.
am I? So I don't know if I'm famous. It took a long time for me to figure out I was famous living in California because nobody's going to tell you because they're famous.
Right.
If they're a makeup artist, if they're a hairdresser, Flo, it don't matter. We all
Landlords
famous.
don't care if you're famous as long as the rent's paid.
Thank you. I'm famous. So I didn't. You don't get it. I don't get it on a daily basis. So going to Comic Con, people having things that I did back in a calendar that I did back in 1995. And them asking me to sign my autograph, it blows my mind. Like, I can't believe, I forgot I did this. Like, and I can't believe you're up on it.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you get this? Etsy? Like, or eBay? I don't know where they get these things. But yes, I had a good time.
Was there a moment where you realized you were famous? Was it like a day, or was it kind of like a gradual thing? Like, oh, I guess I am, or going to this Beverly Hills brunch spot on a Sunday.
Gradual. It's
Okay.
very gradual. And not only is it gradual, but it's cyclical. Like,
Sure.
1 minute you're famous, and then just when you get used to it, you're not let into a club or something. They remind you ain't shit. Just
Right.
when you get used to, being famous, they turn around and cancel your show and remind you ain't shit. Just when you get used. And I don't know if that's God.
No, I'm feeling that right now.
God. I think that's God reminding you ain't shit. So,
shout out to Greenleaf, y'all.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, definitely shout out to Greenleaf, all my folks. But I do think it's necessary to be reminded.
Well, will there be an opportunity for a sequel to A Miracle Before Christmas? And if so,
I
would
hope
you be on
so.
board?
Are you kidding me? Laz is my boy. I'm in love with Latoya Luckett. She's like 6 feet tall. It blew my mind. Everybody's tall to me. I was like,
Everybody's tall to me.
hi, Miss Luckett.
Right.
Like I was saying, Romeo's my baby. Like, and we want him to come back on the Proud Family. So it's a no-brainer. I'll do whatever he and his dad asked me to do. The water, they've got a new water. He and his dad have a new the new water line. So yeah, Romeo is doing big things, big grown man things. So I'm just so proud of my young people. So yes, I'd sign me up. It's like a Miracle Before Christmas is kind of like A Miracle on 34th Street meets the one Scrooge, where the different
It's a Wonderful
Yes,
Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I see some of that
Yes,
too. The whole the
yes,
wishing and
yes,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
whole A
Christmas
Preacher's
story.
Wife.
Preacher's
Remember The
Wife.
Preacher's
Yeah,
Wife with the angel.
yeah,
So it's a conglomerate of all the beautiful things about Christmas movies that we love, that make us happy. Christmas movies. I mean, I can watch a Christmas movie in July and just makes me happy. So this is one of those. And December 20th is our, big premiere relaunch. And I'm just thankful that BET, we did this independently. So for BET to come on board and see what we saw, for me to even be here with you
yeah.
is, due to BET. And I'm thankful that I love BET.